that I think is infinitely better than using an LLM. So, but before I do that, I want to go through a couple quick other use cases. So, why would you want to pay for Claude? Like, what is the point of that? So, with Claude, yes, you can do the projects, you can do the research, you can do whatever it is you want. So, I had a team member in my company who said, I want to learn about how to make money. Okay, I want to do personal finance, right? So, like many of you, you guys have a lot of experience. You've gone through, hey, I was in my teenage years and 20s. I didn't know anything about how to do personal finance. I want to figure out how to do it. So, literally, I had the meeting. He's sitting right next to me at the table. I did what? I voice memoed the entire meeting, copied everything of my own content. And then what I did is I extracted that information, put it in here, and created my own course on wealth management in less than 1 hour. It broke it up into sections, did research. So there's this mode right here called research mode. Every one of the big LLMs have it now. So on ChatGPT, if you click here, it says deep research. If you go on Google Gemini, it says deep research. If you go on Grok, it has, if you use any of the expert or heavy models, it's going to automatically do the research because it's designed for real time. Perplexity is designed specifically for research and references. So if you ever want to buy something, you're like, hey, I don't know what's the best laptop to get, and you give your use case. If you send all LLMs, they're just going to give you contextual understanding. Perplexity will show you exactly the website and information and references the best out of everybody. If you do it for any of the other LLMs, you've got to go through the process and say, provide me the links, give me the details, and it'll do an okay job. But Perplexity and Grok are real-time tools. What are real-time tools? If you want to get the news on an ongoing basis, if you say, hey, I'm in the, I'm in the finance industry or wealth management industry, and I want to get an update on what are the latest updates going on and how to manage money, and you want to do it on a real-time basis, Perplexity and Grok are the only tools that I know and I trust that will give you a real-time feed because it's connected to X, the news feeds, all the different real-time data on an ongoing basis, on a real-time basis. So they are the best for real-time information. Like if you're like, I want to plan, for example, like my kids, their first day of school was today. I asked ChatGPT, I have a whole family section for ChatGPT where every single family member has their own data, right? So I've got, of course, and you can select the privacy security and don't train the model. I'll show you that here on Pro. If you go into settings, I have to find it, but I think it's in manage memories, connector security, multi-factor, where is it? Improve the model for everyone, off. Every one of the big guys, especially if you get the paid versions, will have a version of this data control where you can shut off all the information that's being sent for training, but you got to set it to off before you do that. But then what you can do is like I said, for the kids, they had their schedule, or you've got your calendar schedule. It is really bad at understanding time and like what's going on right next. Like it'll just look at the context of the chat. And that's the problem with ChatGPT, Claude. Google is getting much better. In fact, I think the speed of Google's Gemini model improvement is probably one of the best. It's still not the best performer. Again, if you go on this matrix here, like what is it best for? I really like the research mode that it's got on Claude as well, but real time and thinking is the best on Grok. If you're like, I want to speak like Jason, it is going to do the absolute best job of mimicking Jason. Why? Well, I'll pick on Lyndon here for a second. So we all know Lyndon swears nonstop, says an F word, like every sentence, right? Well, the cool thing with Grok is it has no real filter. So it is so good at mimicking natural language. Now, by the way, I'm picking on Lyndon as a friend, but the ability to mimic like tone, cadence, style, swearing, not swearing, jokes and stuff like that. Grok is really, really good at doing that. So again, like, please be nice to everybody. But if you're like, hey, I really don't want to answer my 1,000 emails, I just want it to mimic me, you can train a model on your tone, extracting all the information from all your emails. We're going to actually go through a case on this if we get enough time, and it will mirror your typing style. If you do that on Claude or ChatGPT or Gemini, it's too nice. It's too formal. It's not going to mimic your style of communication. So using Grok or really Grok is the only one that's very human-like in response and has the best for real-time factual information. I know that sounds like a joke with factual information, but you can use both Perplexity and Grok for good quality citations. So one of the things I always say, remember, it's a high school intern. Don't trust your high school intern for very complex information. That being said, if you give it instructions and say provide citations and links to credible sources, it's going to do that for you. Perplexity will do that automatically. So if you're doing research, it's going to be the best at being able to manage that information and provide the citations. All right, so we went through a little bit of these use cases. What I like about Claude is that it is really good for structured information. And right now I'm almost debating between Gemini and Claude. The reason why is, let me see if I can find you a use case. So I created a implementation plan for some technology just last week, as JP does. And one of the things is I wanted to break the information down into sections. What's cool is because there's 2 million context window, it can give you these breakdowns step by step as canvases. So there's this thing called canvas mode. And what I did is I created a canvas for every section of this document. And what you can do now is if you like using Google Docs, you can just click export to Docs. And guess what? It literally goes into Google Docs and creates the document for you. Boom. Now, if you've got Gemini Pro paid for on a corporate account, it will play with Google Docs, Google Sheet, and will give you the actual analysis real time. So you can play around with the AI in the tool. Microsoft is the biggest. I think they've flopped the biggest. They had OpenAI, they did Copilot, they charged everybody $50 a month, and I think they did a major flop. Google, I think, is doing a much better job of its integration of Gemini into their apps ecosystem. The problem is most mid-sized large enterprises are not using Google Apps on a daily basis. In terms of Raul's question about the web version, when you're playing with LLMs, downloading apps are okay. It doesn't actually have all the same functionality. I'll be honest, like Anthropic, which is Claude, is very annoying. If you use it on your phone, and then you use it on your iPad, and then you use it on your desktop, you won't find all the conversations. And it's like super annoying. So sometimes they'll store on the local version. Unfortunately, I've downloaded every desktop version of it. I usually end up using the web version because all the functionalities on the web version, most of the functions and features available on the desktop or the app. For short stuff, like when I'm traveling, I'll use my iPad and use the app on there. But honestly, the best is if you can use the document, inside the LLM inside the browser from that standpoint, if that makes any sense. It's a good question. All right, so we're running out of time here. So we go back to, we talked about Notion and we talked about MCP. So again, on Claude is the best with MCP. Basically, integrations that are pre-set up. Let's see if it's in here. Connectors. There's probably the most amount of connectors, and it's built its own ecosystem around MCP. So if you're referencing a lot of documents, just like Jason, you were asking, you can select multiple Notion connectors. So if you've got one for your corporate, one for your personal, one for whatever nonprofit, you can connect it. Confluence has integration, Asana has integration, Google Drive, Gmail, and Zapier. If you don't have a connector, Zapier can connect any data structure into Claude. So Zapier is like the super connector that connects to all these other APIs and MCP connectors that pull data off of it. So that's what really these connectors are all about. I haven't played around with Google, but each one of these tools has their own type of connector. Now, Grok, honestly, I think is the worst at managing stuff. Like it really doesn't have a lot of the features that some of the other LMs have. But as far as now, I don't think anybody's going to pay this, maybe other than myself. If you want to use Grok Heavy, which is their best in class mathematics model, and it is by far, I think, the best, it's like $300 a month. Okay, so like you better be solving like hundreds of $1,000 problems or $1 million problems, because like you're going to spend like $3,600 a year for a model you're probably not going to use a lot, right? So you gotta do your, for those of you who have a country club golf membership in some other state and you're a national member, like every time you go play that round once every 3 months is like the most expensive round of golf you've ever played. It's like that. You've got all these LLMs. Yes, I use it on a daily basis because I'm trying to play around with it and figure out what's going to be best for what. But I have very complex things and it's multiple steps. Grok is the best for that. But if you want to manage all that data, I can't manage it in Grok. I've got to manage it in Gemini. It'll break it up pretty consistently. And again, like Jason said, like I'm not going to keep it in the LLM. If you run this right now, within an hour, it's not going to use the information. So that's, again, why you need a tool like Notion to copy and paste all this information over there, because these LLMs do not like storing information. Do not use an LLM as your file folder. Very, very bad at doing it. And they don't play nice if you want to download it again. Use a MCP connection to something like Notion to store your information, to reference it. Now, of course, you should always keep your extra backup folders and stuff like that. But generally speaking, that's what I do. And again, Perplexity, what do you use it for? If you're going to purchase something or you want to do academic research, a lot of citations, Perplexity is going to be the best. It was written by Stanford PhD, and they design it around the whole construct of references. So I need to get a business laptop. It's pretty common, maybe not so useful of a prompt. But what it's going to do is it's going to go within the context of all these sources, and it's really going to give you the actual references. It's probably the best when it comes to shopping, research. That's all going. See how none of the LLMs do this, right? You literally can connect to it. It shows you the rating. You can click it to purchase it. I think it's got the best capabilities when it comes to actually directly accessing something. All right. So we went through all that. Here's the top of the class. So I know you're probably exhausted, mentally drained. I think a tool like this or something like this, like Dust, is going to at least make me 5 to 10 million this year. I mean, this one is a no-brainer. Now, there are other tools that can build AI agents. This is the simplest, stupid tool that everybody in your entire organization can use to build AI agents. Now, I know I showed you how to train the model, create the JSON, copy and paste the file folders all over the place. Well, guess what? Yes, you can do that, but you don't have to do any of that. Dust manages the entire, everything I just said, end to end. And I am going to show you exactly how we use Dust. Okay, so looks just like another LLM, right? Doesn't look anything really interesting, but let's create a new chat. So what's cool about this is, God forbid you had to do what I did and buy multiple LLMs. Well, guess what? In the $29 a month, I get Claude 4 Sonnet, I get Gemini Pro, I get GPT-4, I actually get GPT-5 as well. And these are all my AI agents that I've created and are published to everybody in the company. Now you can publish and not publish. We've got a compliance one. We've got an Ask Hive one. So I know David's on the call. He's actually interning at the company. He does not have an AI background. He doesn't have a software background at all. And he created this AI agent. So we'll say at Ask Hive, what do you guys do at Hive? So what he did, I'm going to show you the output. He created an AI agent trained on, everybody have that stupid SharePoint or handbook or manual of all the stuff that you've got for your company, all the, you got your offsite, you've got your, whatever your ethics is, you've got your instructions of how to live your life, all the stuff that you guys built out. Well, guess what? You can actually now create your own Ask Lyndon or Ask Jason or Ask whatever, or ask your company name, and you can publish it and you can train it to do all the stuff that we just talked about. Jason, if you thought Notion was good, this is like 100-fold more powerful to transform your company. So it is using a slower model, so it's going to make sure it's got really good quality information. But here's the thing. It's actually referencing the classes I've taught, the other information in the company, what is it that we do, and it will give not only the output, but see the source? We've built it so all the sources are going to be referenced directly. So guess what? You have a brand new employee in the company, boom. Not only do they go through your normal training process and learning and development, they can ask any question you want about the entire company. You could say, what is your, well, I don't know about this one. What is your address policy? No idea. I don't even know if we have a address policy. Let's see what happens. So they've uploaded all the SharePoint documents. I'm sure David is sweating on the other line here because I'm doing a live demo in front of people around the world. But what it's going to do is it's going to, there it goes. It does not have, but even better. For a definitive answer, ask Jordan, HR director, or Michelle, HR manager. How much better can you get than that? Worst case scenario, he's defaulted. If it doesn't have the dress code policy, it's up there. Now, here's the thing. You want to trial and error these LLMs. Okay, so we are going to create our own management agent. Now, I was buying you guys some time. If you haven't already done it, go to dust.tt. Let me see if it'll automatically log in. Yeah, I'd have to log out to get in. Let me see. But I think it's also a Chrome extension. I think it's like free on a trial. I have to check. I don't know what the pricing is off the top of my head. Anyways, there's the price right there. Start with Pro for 15 days free. So go ahead and, if you can, go ahead and sign up for like the 15-day free trial. And you can actually do this live with me right now. So let me log back in here. First, as we should all be using a autofill password management tool and not copying and pasting from our Post-it notes. Okay, so what you do is you just go here. It literally says create new agent. Okay, so nothing too fancy. And they've got some pre-built stuff, or you can create your own. Okay. Now, if you're going to create a new agent from scratch, you're going to remember we went through that whole process just before of creating the financial advisor. You can't really skip that, but you can do it all inside Dust. So what you can do is we'll go back to Dust, create a new agent. We'll create. Create a financial advisor agent for dust.tt. Now you got to reference what it is that you want. So you can reference, we can use ChatGPT, and I click enter. We're going to do this quickly. You would just go through the same process that we did before and reference the documents and everything like that. So I'm just going to, hopefully it'll go quickly as a live demo here. And in the meantime, just go ahead and sign up for it. I don't get any benefit out of this. It's just for you guys. You can use the free demo for it. So, feature, details, handling. Okay, so it's going to go through this whole process. And then I'll show you kind of like as it goes through it and creates the output. Okay, it's giving instructions. System prompt pastes into dust. Boom. Right, so got this information. We're going to copy it, create a new agent, copy and paste. Boom. So it literally said, you're a financial advisor. Now, is it in JSON format? No. Again, like I said, I would recommend putting it in JSON format. But now, say you're not an expert at creating an AI agent. What it will do right here is it'll tell you instructions on how to design your agent. Should you specify how to handle data so you can go through that process? If you've got break your instructions down, well, guess what? It tells you the tip. You could actually just go back to that area and say all of these. So just copy, say, update this AI agent into JSON format for Dust and define specific escalation triggers. So, like, obviously, that's not the best way to do it. If you want to think through it, like, what are the outputs? Like, one of the things I do is I create scores, like a scorecard. I mean, like, here's my way that I think about burn rate, or here's the way I want to display the information so it creates a good quality format. So again, it's doing all the work for you to structure it. Now, once you've got it in there, you can actually pick the model that you want. This is all included. So instead of you having been, just stuck on the latest version of whatever, of your latest favorite tool, you can use, remember this guide that we had over here, and say, well, what's the type of project that I'm going to use? Unfortunately, it doesn't have Grok. The only thing that's kind of annoying with it. But it has all of these tools. So you can actually select which model you want when you're creating your AI agent. Say when you use Gemini 2.5 Pro, and then you want it to be very deterministic. It's, or factual. It's going to be financial information. I don't want it to be created with financial information. And do you want it? Well, in this model, there's not that much of a reasoning model. So some of the models that are reasoning that take a lot longer, you'll see it takes a lot longer to process the information. So if it's that valuable and important, then you would use a heavy reasoning model. So if you check, say, like ChatGPT 5, the settings are a little bit different. See, it says high reasoning, light, or none. So it'll be like the regular version, like a more thinking model over here. And if you want this a little bit more technical, you can structure the output the way that you want. Okay, so we selected it. We said that we wanted to be factual. We picked GPT-5. And remember, like right after the API came out, within 48 hours, Dusk updated GPT-5 into the model. So it was pretty much done. Now, here's the cool thing. So Jason, you were asking about Notion. You can literally either include data, and select sources. You can upload all the information you want. So I had all these documents on Ray Dalio. I can literally upload it into the folder, and you've got that. So how do you upload? Let's save this for a second. I'll show you. I'm going to call this AI class finance advisor. Okay, so we just create it like that. Create an icon if you want, or upload wherever you want. You can create tags, like I've created venture investing, asset allocation, hiring, HR, all these different categories of agents. You can publish it to everybody in the company, or you can keep it private for yourself. Click save. Now, we're going to show the how you upload file folders. So I created a bunch of folders. So remember I tell you about Howard Marks? Well, one of my team members, Sunitha, she actually just downloaded every single thing that Howard Marks said and all of his content, and boom, you've got an entire data structure of Howard Marks. And then she created a Howard Marks agent. Let's get out of here. At Howard, see if I've got access to Howard. No, I don't. She has it private. Anyways, I've got anybody know who Ben Graham is? He's like the teacher for Warren Buffett. Said, Ben Graham, what do you think about Apple stock? So I uploaded the entire framework of Ben Graham's security and analysis and his other book. Can't remember the name of it. You can go through it. Now, here's the thing. I don't have any of the information on Apple right now, right? This is a RAG. It's only accessing the information that I've uploaded. So what do you need to do? What questions should I ask to pull information about Apple, the company, to comprehend the my brain's comprehensive analysis? So here's the thing. You get really, really good at asking questions. You have to get good at asking questions. So what you can do is, let's see, excellent question, comprehensive analysis. It's creating all these questions, right? I'll be like, never in a million years would you be able to do this like reasonably fast, right? So let's just ask Ben Graham what he would ask. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this and say, Gemini, go through these following questions and give me research on Apple, the APL. I mean, you can say Apple company, whatever you want. Well, those are all the questions. And what it's going to do is you're going to use that LLM. It's going to go search on the internet using a research model and pull the information. Now, this is going to take a while, right? Because it's like a pretty comprehensive set of questions. But what you can do, and what I do is whenever I'm looking at another company, if I'm looking at the stock market, I'm going to use like a Ben Graham. But you can actually have agents nested in agents. So I've actually got a stock. Another stock. Or where's the other one? I've got a VC manager. So inside this VC manager, if I'm looking at startup deals, I don't want to just get one person's perspective. You can actually have it set up where it includes Jeffrey Moore, Eric Ries, Reid Hoffman, Scott Cooper, one of the co-founders of Andreessen Horowitz, Peter Thiel, Brad Fell, Ben Horowitz, another partner at Andreessen Horowitz. Well, guess what? They've got books, they've got content, they've got research, they've got blog posts. I've created all of them into a embedded agent. So I have an agent of agents. And all the venture VC content that I put together includes all that data, runs multiple agents simultaneously, such that you guys get the point. Like, I am using this on a daily basis now. And if you can imagine, you look at all the different problems that you can kind of solve using this. I know we're out of time. We're going to go through more of this stuff. All the instructions are going to be on the Hive Research AI section. I always want to do this class for free. We've got one every month. What I want you to do is, if you can on the WhatsApp group, if you've got questions, put it out for the entire group. Then we can get the information uploaded inside the Notion that's free for everybody. And I can build out and curate that content. I know it was a lot of information. Hopefully it was useful and valuable. I've actually learned, as you know, whenever you teach a class, you learn so much about like all these different tools and if they're useful and stuff like that. But give me a heads up. Anything that you guys want to learn next time, I think we need to do some deep dive on workflows. And there's some other tools. There's this thing called Comet. If I could show you, blow your mind away. It's literally a browser where you can tell it to do anything you want. You can say, hey, go through all my email, create a draft of every single email in my tone and analyze it in one shot. It can go through your entire tool on a browser. So that's your sneak preview for next month. All right, guys, take care. Talk to you soon.